Okay, we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream, 7:45 p.m. It is today, the 25th of May. As usual, we'll be looking at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press here in Spain. Some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers, and we'll also go into the chat as we do in the live streams regularly and check out what is happening there among the viewers. A little bit under the weather today with allergies. The last few days have been terrible from a sneezing and blowing my nose point of view, so bear with me this evening, please, if we can. Now, straight into the news, and the first story that is dominating the press here today is the rent issue, the prices of rent and what the Spanish government has done to try to improve the situation. But as we can read here, 2 years of Spain's housing law, no cheaper rents, no more supply. 2 years after Spain's housing law was introduced, the crisis in the rental markets remains unresolved and, according to analysts, has worsened. The law aimed to improve housing access by capping rental prices, but in practice, rents have risen while the supply of long-term rental properties has significantly fallen. A new report by the Residential Rental Observatory, led by Fundación Alquiler Seguro and the Universidad Rey Juan Carlos, reveals that over 120,000 rental properties have disappeared from the market since the law's implementation. The sharp drop in supply has driven intense competition among tenants and pushed the average monthly rent to €1,146. The law has particularly affected areas declared stressed markets, such as Catalonia and the Basque Country. Experts argued that the legislation has failed in its goal, resulting instead in record high prices and an even more challenging rental environment for Spanish citizens. The housing crisis remains one of Spain's most pressing social issues. Ain't that the truth? So the housing law that the Spanish government came up with a couple of years ago with the intention to, with the object of lowering rental prices to bring more properties onto the market and make it a win-win situation for both landlords and tenants, as we can see there, according to Cinco Días, or I think that's Antena 3. There might be a mistake there. It's not happening. It's not happening, unfortunately, for people that are in need of accommodation here in Spain. Not easy to get a cheap rent. We'll have a look at an article in just a moment about prices in Barcelona. But looks like another government botched government policy, I should say, when it comes to housing in this country. And let's hope Pedro Sanchez, in the time that he has left, what are we today, 2025, couple of years more, he can sort this one out. But I'm not going to be holding my breath or going to the bookmakers and putting money on this one getting sorted out anytime soon by Pedro Sanchez and his coalition government, which we can talk about if we want in more depth, but some of us will know the reason why the rental market has not improved. Now, onto the topic of Barcelona, where rents are out of control. And as we can see here, renting a room in Barcelona now costs up to €1,000. My entire flat costs less than a room upstairs, someone said. The cost of renting a single room in Barcelona has soared to as much as €1,000, with the average now between $600 and $640 a month, making it the most expensive city in Spain for room rentals. This trend is driven by landlords seeking to bypass Catalonia's strict control laws by turning to temporary lets and co-living models. Large investment firms are increasingly buying up buildings, evicting tenants, and reconfiguring flats to rent out individual rooms at premium prices. Nearly 10% of room listings now exceed €900, with a few reaching up to €2,500 per month. The target market is mostly international tenants under 40, willing to pay for centrally located shared accommodation. Locals report that renting a room can now cost more than an entire flat used to, highlighting the affordability crisis gripping Barcelona's housing sector. The surge in rental prices comes despite regulations aimed at capping and controlling the housing market. So more proof that the new housing law, or the 2-year-old housing law, is not working. Barcelona, an example. Madrid is also expensive, but rooms costing anywhere from 600 and 640 euros a month, which is the average, up to 1,000 and even more for these premium luxury apartments that are aimed solely at foreigners, probably digital nomads that have extra money in their pockets than the locals. And of course, this is creating the problem as well. But as we saw, the government came up with a plan a couple of years ago to try to fix the problem. So well done to the government for this, because people now are just being priced out of cities here in Spain, especially the big popular cities that are also becoming popular with, as I mentioned before, digital nomads and tourists. Big problem, big problem. Now we'll move on to the third piece of news here, and an update on the homeless situation, which is probably related to the two things that we've just seen. The homeless situation at Madrid's number one airport, Spain's number one airport, Madrid Barajas. As we can see here, Madrid welcomes progress between Aena, the airport operator, and the city council on the Barajas homeless issue. Madrid's regional government has welcomed the progress made between Aena and Madrid City Council to address the growing problem of homelessness at Barajas Airport. Jorge Rodrigo, the regional minister for housing, transport and infrastructure, commended Aena's and the Ministry of Transport for finally assuming responsibility after weeks of reluctance. A key development is the agreement for a non-governmental organisation to conduct a formal census of the homeless population at the airport, with Aena covering the costs. Rodrigo described the collaboration between the council and the state-owned airport operator as a positive step, highlighting the importance of public institutions working together to tackle issues affecting citizens. The number of homeless people sleeping in the terminal has risen in recent months, prompting widespread concern. Rodrigo also criticised the central government's earlier efforts to avoid taking responsibility, stressing that this kind of issue requires joint solutions rather than finger-pointing between administrations. Absolutely, again, finger pointing gets us nowhere. We need real solutions for real problems that are affecting citizens here in Spain, whether it's people trying to get into affordable housing, whether it's people that can't afford any housing at all. And reading into this a little bit further today, and I think we mentioned the other day that a lot of people that are in this homeless situation at Barajas are working people. They have jobs, but they can't afford to pay rent with the salaries that they earn. So the working poor, now an issue here in Spain. It's been a problem in other countries, as we know, over the years. People that can't afford to live well on the salaries that they have, and now starting to affect people here. And if I remember correctly, around 70% of the people, I think, I think I'm still recording here, were foreign nationals. Now, I've just had a camera blackout, so I've just got to fix it. 1 minute, please. Okay, there we go. We should be up and running again. If the live stream is still going, just let me check. Yes, it is. Thank you very much, and sorry for the inconvenience there, but technical issues. So we'll move on to the fourth piece of news, get straight into it. Let me just organise the microphone, and it is this one here. that temperatures continue to rise across Spain with highs of up to 35 degrees Celsius and possible rain in Galicia. Spain is experiencing a widespread rise in temperatures with many areas surpassing 25 degrees this Sunday and Seville expected to reach a sweltering 35 degrees Celsius. According to AEMET, most of the country will enjoy dry, sunny weather, particularly in the south and central regions. However, a front moving in from the west may bring some cloud cover and light showers to parts of northern Spain, especially in Galicia and near mountain ranges such as the Iberian and Cantabrian systems. The Canary Islands may see patchy cloud and drizzle in the north, especially over the eastern islands, although conditions will generally clear later in the day. Significant temperature rises over 5 degrees Celsius are forecast for the Costa del Sol, the Guadalquivir Valley, and inland Castilla-La Mancha. Overall, an anticyclonic weather pattern dominates, mostly calm and warm conditions, though northern coastal areas may see some unsettled weather with weak rain. So there we go. The summer has hit. The temperatures getting into the 30s for the first time this year, I believe, in many parts of the country. And Seville going to hit a sweltering 35 degrees Celsius there. That is getting hot. And we're only, as I said before, at the 25th of May stage in the year. So it looks as though it's going to be a hot summer here in central Spain, Madrid. Hot one today, around 29, and getting also up into the mid-30s by the middle of the week, around Wednesday or Thursday, I believe. So if you're in Spain or coming to Spain, get ready for the hot weather. Now we'll look at some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers. The first one here is from Xmania. To be expected, landlords are typically not poor passive beggars who accept regime oppression lying down. Thanks for the comment, X-Maniac, and it appears that you would be right with that comment there. Landlords are trying to get around the rules and regulations, of course, and as we saw in that article about Barcelona, buying whole buildings and turning them into co-living accommodation, which means that basically people just rent a room. Former apartments are turned into various rooms. Kitchens are kept, obviously. Bathrooms are kept, but all of the rooms are divided up, individual keys and premium prices. That's what people are doing. And yep, landlords don't take these things lying down, especially when the government tries to affect their source of income, which is what we're seeing, I think, at the moment. Yep, that is it. Another one here from Agapimo. Question: as a Spanish citizen who has lived outside of Spain for decades, how difficult would it be to rent a short-term accommodation? My goal is to move back to Spain, but want to explore various regions, as I've only lived with my family who have all now died on Mallorca. Are there different rules for foreigners versus Spanish EU citizens for short-term rentals? Affordable housing is a serious issue here in the US and Canada. Thanks for the comment, Agapimo. To be honest, I've got no idea if there are any different rules for foreigners versus Spanish EU citizens when it comes to short-term rentals. I don't think there are. I think you just go to a platform and first in, best dressed, as they say, when it comes to this type of accommodation. Probably a good idea if you don't know where you are going to settle, to try to get short-term accommodation, maybe for a month, maybe for a few weeks in different places, to find a place that you like and then look for something longer term. But it's not easy to find accommodation of any kind, I don't think, and at affordable prices, as we saw there. And the housing crisis, yep, serious in the US, Canada, Spain, and many other countries at the moment. So it's a worldwide problem, it seems, or at least in the countries that I just mentioned there. One here from Chaicha. I wonder if they have an emergency line in Barcelona City Council to help homeless report ocupas and unfair property prices. They don't, and great videos. Keep them coming. Thanks for the comment there. We saw an article the other day that said that there's an emergency line for tourist accommodations, illegal tourist accommodations in Barcelona. Neighbours in apartment blocks can call this number, and of course the police come round and kick out the people in those apartments if they're not registered apartments. But asking the question here, is there one for homeless? Is there one for ocupas? Is there one for unfair property prices? And as they say, So maybe the priorities need to be put in place correctly by the governments here. That could be one of the solutions. Don't know. Want to hear from Raycon. Thank you for your videos. Share your love for Spain. I have a question to British, or in my case, German neighborhoods in Spain. How common is this phenomenon? Do you find it only in Malaga, or do you know this from other big cities? Thanks, Raycon, for the comment here, but to be honest, I don't know of any British or German neighborhoods here in Spain. I imagine there are towns around the country that do have big foreign populations, maybe in Mallorca, maybe in the province of Malaga, but I don't think that those populations outnumber the local Spanish people in those same towns. That would be my guess on this. And then when it comes to tourism, there are neighborhoods in the country. For example, if you go to Benidorm, to give an example, which is just basically a British zone, if you like, you'll find British bars. You'll find menus in English. You'll find people only speaking the English language in that part of Benidorm. That might be what the person means. Or again in Mallorca, with some German areas as well, where German tourists flock to. Hence the businesses are in the German language, or operate in German. But as far as neighborhoods in other cities and towns here in Spain, totally dominated by one group or another, I don't think so. I don't think that is the case. But as I said, there could be some small towns especially in the coastal areas of the Valencian community and the Lucia, where you do get a big foreign population. But as I said, not outnumbering the locals, I don't think. But again, I could be wrong. If I am, let me know in the comment section or the chat section here on the live stream. Please. Thank you. What was that? Yeah, that was the second one. The last comment here from V. Thank you, Stuart. It looked delicious. I grew up with Ensaladia Rousa in my top 5, but it's time to rename the dish Ensaladia Española. After all, it is said that it was invented by a Belgian chef. V, thanks for that. Yes, the famous Russian salad here in Spain, Ensaladia Rousa. Where it got the name from, I've got no idea. There could be some type of etymology behind it. Was it invented by a Belgian chef? Don't know. Have to take that person's word for it. But a very, very popular dish, I will say, the Ensaladia Rousa, which you can virtually find, at least here where I am in the center of Spain, in every bar and restaurant, a version of Ensaladia Rousa. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But that's like with everything, right? Now I'm going to go into the live chat in just a moment. Firstly, I have to change the backdrop picture. It's been on the backdrop the whole time, but this is it, sent in by Thomas and Nancy, who are currently, or have been in recent times, don't know whether they're still there, but on the Granada coastline. The city, I think, is Almuñécar. I could be mistaken, but down that way in the province of Granada in the south of the country. And if you've got a similar picture that you would like to see on the backdrop, the email address is this one here, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Any other information that you would like to send my way, feel free to send it through to that email address. Janet, for example, a regular viewer and channel member, sent me an interesting article the other day about the blackout that we experienced a couple of weeks ago here in Spain. And some theories starting to generate around the place as to what exactly went on, because we're still waiting for answers here. Nobody's given us any answers yet, especially the company Red Eléctrica, who still are trying to blame the electricity operators in this country. We'll see where this one ends up. But a very critical article it was, I think, in the Telegraph newspaper. So feel free, that's the email address. If you want to support the channel, you can do that too. This is the support, the places where you can support the channel. We've got Super Thanks, Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon for longer term supporters. Up there you'll see a QR code just there where you can, with your telephone camera, go to the Buy Me a Coffee page and support the channel that way if you like. And also the channel members of this YouTube channel, thank you very much for that. And also the people that haven't subscribed yet, I should say, just down the bottom there. Do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost a thing. You also support the channel in a way, and you know every time a new video is released. So do us a favor if you haven't done so already. Subscribe. Now, into the chat section I'm going to go. Let's get there if I can. I think I saw a super chat come through, which is 10 euros from N194, also a valued member. Thank you very much for that. Your generous support. Cheers for a few coffees there. Thank you. I will take you up on that soon. Now, what else we got going on here in the chat section? Let's see. Barbara, the first person I can see here, also sent me some photos through today, did Barbara. Hello from Catral, I think that is, where I'm staying at this weekend. Been a pleasant 31 degrees Celsius there, 24 in the Playa Flamenca. Thanks for that. EU, just with some thumbs up emojis. Back at you there, back at you. Sunny's coming in from Basingstoke. Sunny but windy, very windy there, according to Sani. Thanks, Sani, for that. Uncle Al, Tio Al, valued member, coming in from Sardinia, I think that is there. Hope everyone is doing well. Next stop, Tunisia. Be in Spain in 3 days. See you then. Thanks for that, Al. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Gino coming in from Toronto. Hope me and the viewers are well. Thanks for that, Gino. Hope you guys are well there too. Renan back in Los Angeles after her time in Spain, I think. Renan back there. High Flyer John, valued member too. Hope you're having a great week. Hoping we're well. Have a great week. Thanks, John. Janet, I just mentioned Janet before. Coming in from Oxford. Glorious week in Devon, back in Oxford. Push the button. It's like that everywhere. Says push the button. Maybe regarding rents, I've got no idea. Nothing new, says push the button. Nothing new. Thanks for your input. Amanda here. Stuart, for years I wished I had kept my Spanish house, but if I still owned it, I would have to jump through hoops to do it, and I would feel guilty to make money off it, to be honest. There we go. Amanda sold up some years ago, didn't keep the Spanish house. Push the button also adding to the conversation, saying you can't get any apartment anywhere cheap in the EU. Oh, big problems then. Push the button. Big problems then. Show Bronny coming in from Wales, I think. Sorry to hear about my allergies. Yeah, I'm sorry that I have them, Bronny, to be honest. Sunny there, but incredibly windy. South Wales. Forecast for the next few days ahead. 14 degrees Celsius there. Hope you feel better soon. Hopefully I will, Bronny. Hopefully I will. Supply and demand. Probably so, but government intervention has not helped. Merc Rover. Push the button saying 1,000, nothing for an apartment in Sweden. Yeah, but in Sweden they might earn more moolah. Push the button, more moolah. Do you know what I mean? Here in Spain, that's a big problem. People don't earn enough money to pay the rent. That's the issue. Salaries are quite low, whereas in Sweden they might not be. Good evening from North Yorkshire. I've managed to make the live stream tonight. Been watching all the updates on Catch Up, and I must say, put out some fantastic food videos. Thanks for that, Richard. Yep. Some people like the food videos, some people don't. Some people were saying the other day that they don't want to they want only news on this channel. Well, bad luck. You're not going to get only news on this channel. If you want news, you go and watch another channel. Go and watch the BBC. Go and watch another news channel. If you want variety, you come here. It's as simple as that. Ryan saying, hi Stu, which cities in northern Spain do you recommend that are also affordable? Northern cities that are affordable. Yeah, good one. Northern cities, probably I would be looking at, well, it depends where you want to live. If you want to live on the Atlantic coast, if you want to live more north, Basque Country, for example, lots of different options up there. Santander's a city as well. The weather's also the downer. Oviedo's a nice city. Vigo was a nice city, a little bit uncomfortable for pedestrians because it's all hills up and down, but it's a nice city nonetheless. So plenty of choices up there, but we'll open it up to the community. Push the button again. Denmark, the rent's very high, but again, is there something we don't understand here? Salaries are low in Spain. That's the issue. In Denmark, that's probably not the case. See? That's the difference. What else? Here we go again. Spanish complaining most about and blaming the tourist. They're blaming the tourist because of the low salaries, you see? And they think that the tourist is the low-hanging fruit, the easiest person to attack. Again, push the button, that's it. It all comes down with salaries, cost of living. Abe, regular viewer and also channel member, coming in from Sitges. Glad to be back in Spain. Thanks for that. What else we got here? Back, just a slight technical problem with the camera, Bronny. Got it sorted out. Sometimes the cable blacks out on me for some reason. It's a recent problem. What else? Lisa's saying, hi, UV max alerts for Portugal this week with 30 plus temperatures as well. Yep, if you're going out in the sun, make sure that you protect your skin. That would be my recommendation. And also Lisa's there with the high UV count. What else? Stan coming in from Southern California. Good to see you, Stan. Antonio talking about the Ensaladia Rousa. Yeah, interesting name, I think, as that person points out. Maybe with no Russian origins. Got no ideas, to be honest. No idea. Kev joining the chat here as well. Catch up later. Hoping we're well. Cleaning the pool. Better get that pool ready, Kev. Get the pool ready. It's going to be hot. Dave, Alcalá de Henares correspondent, formerly Madrid correspondent, and extra virgin olive oil expert. Enjoyed the updates as always. Happy travels. Thanks, Dave. Eddie coming in from Madrid. Eddie's in Madrid, I think, currently. Traveling around Spain. Looking for his... I think Eddie sent me an email talking about his... where he grew up as a kid, I think. Trying to find that place. See if it's still there. Thanks, Eddie. Hope you are enjoying the city of Madrid. Has it changed? Let us know since you last saw it. Not much we can do about chronic overpopulation, that is true. Is it a bad idea to move to Spain? Not if you got money, it's not. If you got money, no problemo. Juan coming in from Canada, or the Canadian Spanish amigo from Montreal, but coming in from Napoli. 2 trips coming up in June, and to Madrid. Cheers, mate. Thanks, Juan, for that. Hope you have a good trip to Madrid. Do I do meetups in Madrid by any chance? Well, if you get in contact with me, Andre, I could come and meet you. No problem. Have a coffee. I've done that with people in the past. No problems. Mark saying, love the vlogs and honesty. Thanks, Mark. Some people do, some people don't. Been getting a fair bit of abuse recently because of some things that I've been saying, but it's all part of the game. Carmen coming in. Ensaladia Rousa was created by a chef for a famous Moscow restaurant in the 1860s, also known as Oliver salad. There we go, getting to the bottom of the Ensaladia Rousa. Neptune saying here that if the salaries were high in Spain, it would not be as popular for tourists then because it wouldn't be as affordable. That's the issue, right? Trying to find that balance. But of course, everyone's jumped on the Airbnb bandwagon, and locals are getting, I won't use the word, but you know what I mean. Best visa to go after if you want to open a small business, in your opinion. Again, not up to speed on what's happening with the visas, but obviously you'd have to look for one that allows you to work and operate a business, and also will depend on where you're coming from. Iggy coming in from a warm Jaén, and what I mean by that is whether you're coming from the European Union, where you've got more rights than if you're coming, let's say, for example, from the United Kingdom, where you've got no rights anymore. So it would depend. It would depend. Craig also saying here that French invention for Russians invented by a Frenchman named Oliver. There we go. So maybe it was a Frenchman, wasn't Belgian. Don't know. We've got another super chat here from Andre. Appreciate your intel on various places, Stu. Very helpful for those of us planning a trip. How do I take you for a coffee early next week. Just send us an email, Andre. Let me know where you are, and we'll see if we can meet up. That's all. So just send me an email to that address that I put on the screen before, spainspeaks@gmail.com. And provided I'm not, depending on next week, what's the date next week? Is it the beginning of June? I might have something on a couple of days, but I should be okay. And Alex, coming in from Rome, not able to fit Spain into travels this time, sadly, heading back to winter in Australia on Wednesday. There we go, Alex, heading back to the Australian winter. Depending on where you're from is either good or bad. If you're from Tasmania, probably not the best. If you're from Perth, that's not a bad winter. It's not bad. And Charlie saying, I can barely afford to live donde Jesús perdió su chancla. You need to know Spanish to understand what Charlie's saying there. Now, that's the end of the live stream today. It's been a pleasure as always. I apologize for the blackout that we experienced there for 30 or 40 seconds until I could get the camera set up, but hopefully it won't happen again. It's been a pleasure. Until the next time, which will most likely be on Thursday. Until then, hasta luego, hasta entonces, adios, and bye-bye.